The COVID-19 pandemic was experienced globally, affecting all members of the society. It was unprecedented. It was all so sudden. Around the last few months of the year 2019, a sudden outburst of a virus named Corona has alarmingly spread around China and eventually contaminated its neighboring countries, such as Hong Kong. Although it was not announced as a dangerous threat when it was first recognized as a possible global issue, people suddenly became infected, one after the other. In such a short period of time, the coronavirus has already dealt deadly damage to people worldwide, and by then was announced as a pandemic, causing countries to close their borders and implement quarantine. The Philippines was no exception to this issue. As the Filipinos' health declined, so did the country's economy. On March 16, 2020, President Rodrigo Duterte signed Proclamation Number 929, placing the country under a state of calamity. Educational institutions worldwide promptly responded to the pandemic by going online. Students shifted from physical spaces that provided them with much-needed social interactions to being at home, answering modules, and seated behind the screens for hours. These new distance learning conditions posed a lot of challenges to the faculty and to the students. With this so-called forced transition from face-to-face to modular and online learning, it apparently has its negative and positive results. With the heightened disengagement levels due to a loss of social interactions, especially among younger students, they tend to devote more time on gadgets. They allot less time for learning and start cramming to meet module deadlines. Worse, they end up passing schoolwork late. Some even resort to cheating because of easy access to Google. When doing schoolwork, they are easily influenced by different distractions in their environment. All these, more often than not, result in poor performances and grades. In typical classrooms, students that require more attention or support are attended to. However, with the pandemic, this was no longer the case. The responsibility falls on the parents, which to some is an additional burden and stress, resulting in ineffective learning progress to the child. With just the visual image of the negative effects of the pandemic, a strong and long-lasting impact on the student's personality and motivation is not a big surprise. Both mental and physical capabilities of the students begin to deteriorate. Some experience lack of sleep, unable to eat meals, and in worse cases, students eventually fall into depression and other types of disorders. But with all this chaos and pandemic restrictions, students, however, tend to adjust, learning new skills in process like time management and responsibility without the usual teacher and student interactions in school where everything is being explained. Students tend to be more resourceful. They indulge in researching to fully understand the lesson and gain more knowledge about the subject. They learn to manage their own time, allotting enough for each subject and online classes. This way, they won't be overwhelmed by the deadlines. To lessen the impact of disengagement, they join virtual school activities which help develop their self-confidence and improve scholastic achievements. Our current NSQ competition is a way for me to once again polish and hone my skills in impromptu speaking, for I was once a competitor 2 years ago. This experience and opportunity opened doors for me, and I am sure it did the same for the other contestants, whether it is their first time or this may be a way for them to revitalize their memories. Lastly, when we talk about the effects of the pandemic on the scholastic achievements on students, one thing comes to mind: the integration of technologies into the educational system. They always come together. However, with the pandemic, it pushed technology into a new level because it provided more possibilities for both teachers and students. It is true that the pandemic, with its sudden appearance, gave people little to no time to understand, process, and prepare for the upcoming changes in our day-to-day activities. COVID-19 pushed us to a corner, leaving us clueless and left to experience difficulty in adapting, left to face the reality of being isolated in our sometimes not so comfortable home and environment. Will Will the old normal come back? The future is unknown. No one has an answer for it. But perhaps we can be the answer if we all learn to adapt and find a solution. Who knows? Our old normal life might start to introduce itself once again sooner or later. We will rise stronger, smarter, and better. Our country will bloom beautifully once again. I am Kiesha Legaspi from Tayug National High School, Tayug, Pangasinan. Thank you.